The WBC orders Devin Haney to fight his mandatory, Sandor Martin. You guys make sure you follow me on all my social medias linked below. WBC has ordered WBC champion Devin Haney to face off against his mandatory, Sandor Martin of Spain. I asked, what are your thoughts? I'm going to give some of my opening statements and thoughts regarding the fight. Now, listen, Sandor Martin, I respect him. I thought he beat Teofimo Lopez when they fought. There were some, it's kind of like the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight in the fact that there were some knockdowns that weren't accounted for whatever reason. And I think Sandor Martin maybe got credit for one knockdown. But if you watch the fight, there were some knockdowns that weren't counted as knockdowns, which definitely could have been a deciding factor. Now, at least with the Ryan Garcia fight, the right person won. The person, you know, even though he was robbed of some knockdowns. And I really thought the Devin fight should have and could have been stopped by either Bill Haney or the referee. So Sandor Martin, you know, he has my respect. He also retired Mikey Garcia in a fight he wasn't expected to win in Fresno. And ironically enough, Devin Haney was there with Teofimo because I have footage of it. And that's when Teofimo and Devin had the run-in. So what does Boxing Ego think about Devin Haney and Sandor Martin? My thoughts have not changed one bit. I still believe everything that I've previously stated regarding Devin Haney. I believe Devin Haney is in between a rock and a hard place. His last fight clearly did not go his way, right? He was kind of bullied by the guy he called a C+ fighter in Ryan Garcia. Now, I'm fully aware there's going to be some controversy there because as of me recording this video, Ryan has officially failed and popped dirty for Osterine, and that's pending. The investigation is going on as we speak. They're going to open the vial or the blood and urine samples to retest and test for the B sample May 22nd. So a few weeks away, and we got to see what happens. As of me recording this video, I'm not going to say too much more outside of that because I don't know the outcome. Will it get changed to a no contest, no decision? Will the ruling be overturned, basically? Wait and find out. Will they not find any evidence or enough evidence to reverse it? It's kind of like, almost like NFL football. When we're talking about the NFL and they ruled the play was a touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers, and then when they go to review it or the other team challenges it, right, then you have to wait. The referees huddle up and decide if the touchdown stands or if they're going to reverse it. That's literally what's happening right now with this fight. So don't have too much more to say. However, it doesn't, no matter what the outcome of that situation is, it doesn't change what I'm saying. Devin, whether Ryan cheated or didn't cheat, took a beating. That's the thing in boxing that separates me from Brand X. I'm here to tell you the truth. Unapologetic, unfiltered, raw. I make sure everything we make's raw. Bust a rhymes when I bust a rhyme. And I'm about to flip modes. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter for the integrity of the sport, but what I'm saying is the beating was administered. Devin took the beating. And then if Ryan was cheating, then it only becomes worse from there because now you fought a guy with an unfair advantage, but the beating remains. So I still feel how I've always felt. Devin needs a long recalibrate, a long vacation. In my opinion, 9-10 months to a year, somewhere around that, maybe even a little bit longer, depends on the individual, but probably about a year off. He's now being ordered to fight Sandor Martin, who I just told you throughout this video, I definitely respect. He's a tricky fighter. He's a fighter from Spain. And I'm not him, but you got to put yourself in the mindset of a fighter. These fighters, I'm not going to say arrogant, but they're confident in their abilities. So he probably felt he could beat Devin Haney regardless, but seeing Devin Haney come off pretty much a lousy performance where he was badly hurt, had no legs, you would only imagine, I think it's safe to surmise that Sandor Martin would be full of confidence going into a Devin Haney fight. But then you look at Devin Haney, even if Ryan cheated, if he didn't cheat, that beatdown is still in here. You know, the potential PTSD is still up in here. The physical damage is still in here. And when Devin did that, the day Ryan failed the drug test and Devin Haney, he did an interview with ESPN, he sounded really shaken up. He sounded more stuttery and stammering. And that's probably because the emotions of the event haven't settled. And nobody wants to feel like somebody cheated them and then they got embarrassed and then it wasn't even on the up and up. So I can understand that. But the fact remains is Devin's next few fights, definitely going to be an interesting time. It's definitely going to be an interesting time. And I told you, another reason I feel Devin is in between a rock and a hard place is because the division has a ton of talent in or around the division. And you're coming off of a performance like that. And boxing is like that, where it has so many highs and that can immediately be followed by a low. Like, look at Adrian Broner. Ah, man, you know, AB, Archbishop, almond butter. When Broner moved up, he was the man at 35. His very first fight, he beat the best champion at the time, Antonio DeMarco. That's my favorite Broner performance ever. Then he fought Gavin Reese, and he moved up 2 weight classes and became a champion again, defeating Paulie Malignaggi. You know, I took his belt and his girl, right? So 35 was the man. Before that was the man. Moves up to welterweight, defeats Paulie Malignaggi. I think it was a split decision. Still the man and a champion. Next fight, he fights Maidana. Boom, up in smoke. Because, you know, Broner flew too close to the sun. The Maidana was, you know, too big of an ask, I guess, at the time. So that's how boxing works. Same thing happened for Devin. Devin literally was on top of the world with the Regis Prograde performance. People are like, man, he's getting better and better. I was at the fight. You know, people are like, man, he tore up a champion. You know, he wore him out, blah, blah, blah. And he got all the praise in the world. Next fight, he's struggling to get on the ropes and celebrate. And then he ends up losing. And now we have this whole Pop Dirty fiasco. Difficult times, up and down. That's what boxing is like. That's why you got to move smart, have the right team, and, you know, play the game so the game don't play you. So as far as I see it, Devin's next move is paramount. And I think he needs to make some cuts and alterations in his team, because the Sandor Martin fight is super difficult too. And another reason why I feel like this stuff is difficult for Devin Haney is he's weighing in naked in his second fight in a new division. So he just got to 140 and he's already having to weigh in naked in order to make the weight. Now, credit to him. He's a consummate professional and he keeps making the weight. Somehow, some way, even though his body looks big, pause, no diddy, he's making the weight. So you got to give him props for being disciplined and getting to the number that he was contracted to get to. I get that. However, it is, for me as a boxing, you know, student of the game, it is a bit concerning that you just moved to this division. And same thing with Ryan Garcia. Not all these young fighters, but a lot of them will say that. How are you guys? That means you're not fighting in your true division. If you move up in weight and within a fight or two, neither of y'all can make the weight, that tells me something. Ryan Garcia is talking about, I can never make 140. I can only make 143. That's the lowest, which is a made up weight class. Then you probably shouldn't be fighting at 140 if you can't drop that last 3 pounds. And then with Devin, he didn't drop the last 3 pounds And now that's been a point of contention in his victory on top of the pop and dirty part. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with Dev. He's having to weigh in naked, but naked, please, in only his second fight. That's highly concerning to me because the fighters of yesteryear, like you had guys like Rocky Marciano, and look at this is Devin. Look how big he looks, right? You got guys like Rocky Marciano, and he's a heavyweight weighing about 189, 188 pounds. Now these fighters look like they campaign at lightweight and 140, and they get up to the 180s. Like it's really crazy. So I think the Sandor Martin fight is difficult, especially where Devin's at in his career with what happened in his last fight. And the other reason that makes it very challenging for Dev is you're surrounded. Like if you can't make 140 comfortably and continue to do stuff, you have to understand time waits for nobody. So Devin's going to keep getting older. That's what happens. Everybody gets older. As you get older, it's going to get harder and harder to make that sacrifice. Your body's going to be less forgiving and it could fail on you if you keep trying to cut so much weight, right? So does he stay at 140 and it looks like his body at best is a struggle? Like it's a deliberate, concentrated effort to try to make 140, or do you move up to 147? And then you look at 147, which has normally been a glamour division. I can't say it's popping, but the guys up there are bigger, stronger, tougher, pack more of a punch. Stanionis, you got guys like Jaron Ennis. Likely Crawford and Errol are moving up to 54. Crawford for sure is. Errol Spence pretty much is. But still, even guys like Barrios, he's given himself time to acclimate to the division. From Keith Thurman to he fought Santiago, and then now he just fought again on the Canelo undercard against Maidana's brother. Before that, he fought against Ugas and almost stopped him. So you don't want to just jump up to 47 and fight top dogs either. But then if you stay at 140, if you want to keep your title, which I mean, I don't know what his plan is, but you got to fight Sandor Martin. And even that's a dangerous fight where he's at, because Sandor Martin has sneaky power. You've seen that with Teofimo. Teofimo looks pretty durable, and I would say he has a better chin than Devin Haney, and he was even getting dropped by Sandor Martin. So the man could really box. And then if you go a different route, the guys at 140, a lot of them are big punchers, dangerous, relentless styles like Lemos, like champion Subriel Matias. Teofimo is another big puncher who's also athletic. Now, I don't think Teofimo looked sensational in his last fight versus Jermaine Ortiz, but he didn't get battered like Devin Haney versus who he called a C-class fighter. So, interesting times for Devin Haney. I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think he should do next. The Sandor Martin or maybe Richardson Hitchens, these are difficult fights, but in terms of pure sheer power, they're probably the safest fights. In terms of if your man was concussed in his last fight, fighting them, there's no guarantee that they absolutely would knock you out. But even those are very difficult fights. But it, to me, would be better than fighting Gary Antoine Russell at this space or like a Subriel Matias based on the style matchup. Let me know what you guys think.